that in part 2. I'm picking up here at part 3 about the overall story about John Kerry, the deeper meaning behind things, because we look at the headlines and we just want to take it for face value. But when you get past all the subtle, superficial stuff, the substance, like you always say, like, eat a Tootsie Roll Pop, you have to lick to get to the middle. Okay, I don't know if that's the best analogy, but once you get past all the superficial talk, once you get past all the kind of spin, what's really going on, and when you open up the Bible, okay, is that the news tells its version of it, but that the news is not the Bible. Okay, the news anchors, the media, now they might have some understanding about it. That's excellent. Hey, you know what? I applaud them. And we are in the most historic period in world history, because things are happening simultaneously and we're not even aware of it. I'd say that even me going to Walmart tonight or going to Kmart, whichever, things could just, my mind will be on something totally different, and it won't be on something like this. But when I sit down, I take it all in, and I'm just simply going grocery shopping. I'm not aware of all the things that are happening on the news because I'm grocery shopping. I'm in a different place altogether. But what comes us in, when we hone ourselves in, when we get away from the superficial things of life, like getting to the store, getting a shower, cooking a quick breakfast, making a cup of coffee. Once you get past all those things, what really hinges on everything is that our lives could forever change. And a simple cup of coffee will mean a lot to somebody. A simple cracker could mean everything to that person. And we don't realize how significant the war planning that has been going on could dramatically change our way of life here in America, because we're so dependent on these other countries. Here's a great example. I was setting up my Sirius radio for my car, and I was talking to a girl from another country. And it was a fleeting thought, but I was thinking, there's so many Americans that don't have these jobs anymore. A lot of the companies outsource those jobs, and there are Americans collecting, EBT benefits, welfare, SSI, and who has these jobs today. And I'm not saying that every American would be out on food stamps if it hadn't been for some decisions at top, but let's be honest. The incentive is completely taken away from you to go out and initiate that. And don't you think there's something of substance to consider as Americans? Why are we not working? Why are we not achieving what we used to achieve? Why do they downplay Common Core? Why do they downplay the Obamacare? Why do they downplay the threat? I mean, in a normal, the way things used to be is that when we hear about these news, people actually used to care. I remember when I was in my, teens, I saw how parents and grandparents reacted. That was a whole different generation then. I mean, the generation of grandmas and grandpas today, I'm not saying that they don't care, but, it mattered because they were the generation that I was in close proximity, where the World War II generation. Many of my relatives have been dead and gone over 15, 20 years now. So, I'm in my mid-40s, and I think to myself, if I had children, the demographic of my life is totally different than my aunts and uncles. I'm single, I'm 45, I'm divorced, I had never had children. 40 years ago, that didn't happen as much, wasn't as prevalent. Somebody my age, 40, 50 years ago, would have had 2 or 3 grandchildren by now, sitting around with my husband. But my life is forever different. And I'm not saying that it's because of decisions I made or I didn't make. I'm just saying the world is a different place. And you could just look around you. I don't have a husband that I see and talk to every day. I don't have children. It's a very different world for me than it would be from my own mother. Okay, so it's relevant to me. We're living in a whole different dynamic. My family dynamic is drastically different than my mother and my father's and my aunts and uncles. They had children. They had lived full lives. I'm not saying I don't, but I have to tell you, my mom didn't sit here figuring out the world's problems the way I do. She was more concerned with a lot of things revolving around her family. So it's just a different generation. For me, I see what the Bible meant by this generation will not pass till these things are fulfilled. I know we're that generation because I think about the things that I was influenced into. And then I think, imagine myself at 20 years old and what influenced me to do the things I did. And what, if I were to take somebody that's the same age I was at 20 today and what influences them. Well, I have to be honest with you. I've never read or picked these things up, but just at a glance, the series of The New Moon and the vampire series. I mean, there wasn't things like that. That was the way a young girl who I got to know in Missouri, she explained to me that it was like a soap opera for vampires, romancing vampires. I'll stick to Days of Our Lives, but I guess that's not what it is. So we look at these deeper meanings because there is significance to it. I can't just take her word for it. I know there's more significance when, 25 years ago, it was Days of Our Lives. Today, it is New Moon, vampires kissing each other, marrying each other. It's a different world. And it's dramatically different. And people say, well, that's what kids are into. No. That's what the movies are putting out today. They just know that their audience wants more substance, so they turn it into a soap opera. I mean, come on. It's just vampires now, right? I'm supposed to just brush it off. That's why I don't take these people that serious, because if they're not going to take this serious, then I'm not going to take them serious, period. Okay? Because there is some substance and content to that. People write these stories, and there's a deliberate purpose behind it, and that's what we're trying to get down to the bottom. So basically, as I wrap this up, with the significance of the times we live in, why we are called to witness to each other, talk to each other, share the love of Jesus Christ, is because the Lord's return is so quick. And when I say when this house of cards fall down, it's going to happen so fast. People won't be able to sit down and read the Bible like we have this moment to do. They'll be too panicked at what's happening to their bank accounts or how to get gas, or you're going to be consumed with these things, and it will sweep you away. So that while we have the time to, we're looking at where we're at right now. With John Kerry having broke his leg, what I just gave, in part one, what we went over, it is important that we leave off with this important thing. You got to know these couple topics. Well, I had to spread it out in 3 audios because of the way I upload these things. I want you to understand the importance. It's not just because I'm saying this, because there's actual tangible evidence that if you were to pick up the Bible, read Daniel 9:27, and what you just heard, these are actual news events. This is tangible. You can literally take the Bible and Daniel 9:27 and look at the headline news and tell me you can't come to the same understanding that there isn't a deeper meaning. And closing this, wrapping this up, I just want you to know it is significant, because what will happen when this deal is confirmed, because that's where we're at now. We're right there. Okay? It's obvious that this deal has been already brokered. Now it's just somebody's going to confirm it. That's when things change, and we're right there. We're right at the, when you know that you got 2 outs, okay, 2 strikes and 3 balls. Someone hits that ball. It's either going to be a strikeout, and it's 3 outs, you're out. We're right there, okay? Because, or walks the guy. I'm just giving you some baseball strategy. I'm doing a lot of things like strategizing. There is a strategy behind this, and when that deal is confirmed, because that's exactly what Daniel 9:27, he will confirm. See, the plan is that person, that very significant person, has to confirm it, and that is what Kajani was trying to leave off with. And when he confirms it,
is a draft permanent status agreement to end the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
הסכם ז'נבה שהוא די קרוב לעקרונות מתווה קרי שאנחנו מגלים אותם הערב.
ואני אגיד לך מה היה בנייר האמריקני, ואינדיק יכול לחשוף עוד אנשים. יש שם מה שכתוב ביוזמת ז'נבה. כל זמן שזה עמדה אמריקנית, זה מאוד קרוב למה שכתוב. Once again, this connects this event to the Israel and Palestinian peace agreement that will be confirmed by the Antichrist. In reference to John Kerry's credit.
And thanks for listening to Third Watch Update.